Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are watching me from. Um, this is Sheila of Destiny Shapers with Sheila Noy. Success has a secret. It's called strategy, and you need a strategy to become financially free. So today we are blessed to have Mr. Jerry Adjin-Tettey all the way from Accra. Um, to come and share a lot of nuggets with us today. So, our topic for today is the keys to financial freedom. We are hoping that you will not just listen, you will use the nuggets that he's going to share with us today so you can make a turnaround in your financial practices. So, thank you so very much, Mr. Jerry Adjin-Tettey. You are welcome to Destiny Shapers with Sheila Noy. I would want you to share a little bit of your background with our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Sheila. I'm so grateful and happy to be on this platform with you. My name is Jerry Adjin-Tettey. Actually, I've been working with DataBank since year 2008, so it's been quite a while. And over the years, we've, basically, we've learned a lot, and we've realized that the keys to financial freedom is not anything so difficult. Yes, it may take some will to accomplish that. And that's why we are here to share. I remember last year, I did a similar program like this, and a gentleman I met later at a wedding told me, do you know that this program actually changed my life? And today is around 15th of the month, and I've not even spent my salary. And I said, wow, that is great. So I believe today will be the day that will change your life. Much of what I'm coming to share, maybe things you may know or things you may be doing, but for those who are doing, is to reinforce that decision for you to continue doing. And for those who are not doing at all, this is the time for you to start something. So I'll share briefly, with you keys to financial freedom. And I'm going to look at some few things that we need to know. But first of all, since this program is for you in North America, I just came across some interesting statistics and I just want to share with you. And as you can look at your screen now, as you can look at your screen now, um, these two statistics, or maybe this one is a saying actually from, and actually it's based on fact by Dave Ramsey. He said that Dave Ramsey runs a syndicated show in the US. For those of you who follow him, he's one of the personal financial gurus. And he said 48% of Americans have less than $10,000 saved for retirement, which means if they're out of job, it will be very difficult for them to cope in retirement. And this also from CNBC report 2021, the average American has 90,000 plus in debt. That is the average American. So it's like debt is eating people up, and just because of few mistakes people make in their life. So tonight or this afternoon, wherever you are, as we take this journey together, I believe there is something you can learn, and there is something that you can put into practice, and you can turn your financial situation around just like a great ship in the ocean. So having said that, all hope is not lost. All hope is not lost. No matter where you are financially now, you can turn things around. And that's one thing I like about Auntie Sheila. When I listen to her, she encourages us, she motivates us, tells us that we can achieve the impossible. And so financial freedom is possible. And that's what I want you to know, that financial freedom is possible. Actually, before the year 1954, the year before the year 1954, there has never been a man that has run a mile race under a minute, under 4 minutes, sorry. There has never been a man that has run a mile race under 4 minutes. All the medical pundits, all the experts, what they were saying is that it is not possible for the human heart to contain and to survive such an ordeal. And so nobody tried it, and nobody was able to break that record. But in the year 1954, this British gentleman on your screen, Roger Bannister by name, he died in 2018, just some few years ago, about 3 years ago. And this man broke that record. And history has it that when he crossed the finishing line, he fell down and people thought he was dead. And people ordinarily would say that, oh, I told you, this man, he has done the impossible and now he's dead. But this man did not die after crossing the finishing line. And can I tell you something? The record he broke in 1954, to date, over 1,300 people have broken that record. And so what seems to be impossible back then is now a common thing now. And so in your situation, financial situation, you may be saying that I have debt, I have this, I have mortgage to pay, I have credit card debt, I have, you know, um, um, some other debt that I have to settle and to think about. And you're asking yourself, is it possible that I'll be able to make ends meet? Is it possible that I'll be able to survive? Is it possible that I'll be able to live a debt-free life? I've come to encourage you and to tell you that it is possible for you to be debt-free. It's possible for you to be financially free. And it takes very simple steps. So quickly, I'm going to share with you some 7 keys that I believe that if you incorporate that in whatever you are doing, I believe if you are able to adhere to it, you will be able to come out debt-free, and not just debt-free, you'll be able to be financially free, meaning that you have the means to do what you want to do and without taking on unnecessary debt. So the very first one I want to share with you is that you must have a financial goal and plan. You must have a financial goal and plan. It's very key. It's very key. You must have a financial goal and plan. Financial goal and plan. What do I mean by that? Know where you are and what you want to achieve and when you want to achieve it. And closely linked to this point is the fact that you must also live on a budget. I mean, get on a budget. It's very, very important. So it's 2 things here. You must have a financial goal and plan. Thankfully, the year is coming to an end. And next year, you shouldn't go into 2022 without having a goal, a target as to what you want to achieve in 2022. And you must not just have the goal, but you must come out with a spending plan to tell you where your money is gone. So you don't leave and at the end of the month you say, oh, I earned so much, but I didn't know where my money went and I didn't know how I spent my money. One of the things that you must do now is to have a financial goal and plan. So wherever you are or whatever financial hole you have dug for yourself, make it a point that you are going to come out with a plan. So maybe by the end of the year, I'm going to be able to have this much money. I'll be able to do this. I'll be able to do that. And it must be, and I suggest that you write it on paper with a pen, because psychology tells us that whatever we are able to capture on paper with the pen, it registers on our subconscious mind. And even when we are asleep, our minds work on it and we are able to accomplish that. So that's the very first one I want to share with you. The second one I want to share with you is that examine your attitude towards spending. And also linked to that one is that try and avoid unnecessary debt. One, examine your attitude towards spending and try and avoid unnecessary debt. It's very, very important. And we live in an age where we tend to consume a lot. And then we always chase the fanciful things. You want the latest gadget, the latest iPhone, the latest this, the latest that. And Mama Sheila, excuse me, for you, the women, it's like every attire must have a bag to match, a shoe to match, and a wristwatch to match. And sometimes the sad thing is that all are being financed with borrowed money, which is not the best. One of the things you need to do now, and that has to do with a change of mindset, is that you need to, or you got to determine, and you got to you have to make up your mind that going forward, you are not going to borrow to consume. And if you are to borrow at all, I can tell you what you should borrow for. You should borrow for things that will generate income and not for consumable items. You are borrowing to buy a fridge, a television, a mobile phone, handsets, gadgets. Those things in itself does not generate income. So as long as you keep borrowing for these things, you it's like you are digging a hole for yourself. And you, as long as you are not feeling that hole, you are continuing digging that hole, you'll find yourself in a very difficult situation. So the second point I want to share with you is that try and avoid unnecessary debt. One of the things, if you listen to Dave Ramsey, he is a proponent of living without debt. And so on his show, most of the time he end up cutting, credit cards of people. And he has trained himself to live without credit card. So you instead live with a debit card, because the debit card, the money goes straight into your account, the money is taken. But then when you are living and paying for goods with somebody's money, you don't feel it, so to speak. But then when it comes to payment, it becomes an issue. And we all know that in the West today, debt is a serious issue. People then go and throw themselves, for instance, in UK, people go and throw themselves in the River Thames because they are deep in debt. And people are living, and and the way these people, creditors, they chase and pursue people is such that people lose their peace of mind. They lose their dignity of living. And I don't want you to get into that situation. That's one of the things you have to determine, that as much as possible, you are going to live without debt. I know some things it will be difficult. For instance, when it comes to things like mortgages, because in the West, except for instance, you are one of the maybe LeBron James or some of these top players, and then you can buy a house outright, it will be difficult. But then for those consumable debts, you walk into Walmart or you walk into Costco or whatever it is, and then you just pull out your card and pay with it, and you are financing it, all these consumable items with debt, it wouldn't help you. And I think that's one of the mindsets you need to change, because when it comes to financial freedom, there are to do goals, things that you need to do. But more importantly, to be goals are the most important ones, the to be goals. So there are things that you need to internalize, and there are things that you need to do. So you fight it in two ways. So the to be goes and then to do goes. So some of the things I'll be sharing with you fall between these two categories. The third one I want to share with you is that you must be willing to sacrifice, willing to sacrifice, willing to sacrifice. If you look at the next slide, I've put two scenarios there. And for the purposes of those living in North America, I've changed the currency to dollars. But if you are living in Ghana, or you are watching us anywhere in Africa or in Ghana, just if you are earning 1,000 Ghana cedis and someone is earning 3,000, or let me say two people, Bill and Cathy. Bill is earning $1,000, and Cathy is earning 3,000 USD. Who is better off? ordinarily, if you look at it this way, you will say, oh, Kathy is better off because she is earning much more than Bill. However, if I move to the next slide, you will realize that the situation changes. And you realize that Bill is better off than Kathy. Kathy earns $3,000, spends everything, invests nothing. Bill earns $1,000. Sorry for the typo there. $1,000, spends 800, and then invest 200 cedis. So you can find that clearly Bill is better off. This situation teaches us a number of things that, or we can draw a number of lessons from it. For instance, one of the key things we can learn from this is that it doesn't matter how much you earn. It doesn't matter how much you earn, but how much you are able to save and then make that money work for you. That's one of the things that we can learn from it. And also, another second thing we can learn from it is that your expenses or your income does not necessarily mean that you will save, because most of the time, and let me use a very typical example here in Ghana. For instance, maybe you, at the time you were on a lower salary, you were drinking pure water. I don't know, Auntie Sheila, you understand pure water in our
Yes.
system,
Yeah.
the sachet water. You were
Yeah.
drinking pure water, then your salary increased to a certain level, and you say, now my level has changed, my lifestyle too much changed. So now you move from pure water, you are now drinking bottled water.
Oh.
And or maybe probably you were joining Trotro. Now your level has changed, so no more Trotro. You start, you doing Uber or taxi, or you are doing chartering, a car or something of that sort. So that's the situation. So most of the time, you realize that people end up adjusting their level of income to any salary increment that they receive. But the point is, if you can hold your expenses, when your salary goes up, you will have a lot to put aside for yourself. And that's all, this all has to do with, the keys that we are talking about financial independence. It's very important. Be willing to sacrifice. In fact, you can't eat your cake and have it back. That's why in Mahatma Gandhi's um, Seven Deadly Sins, it says that there cannot be worship without sacrifice. And so if you are going to make wealth or you want to make wealth, you should be willing to sacrifice. You should be willing to sacrifice. And what I've realized in this short life of mine is that uh, most of the time, the people who earn more are the people who seems to be always in need of money. I don't know about you, but you realize that maybe in your workplace, there's somebody, maybe one of the bosses who is earning so much. By the end of the month, it comes to you and telling you, oh, can you borrow me this amount of money? Can you give me that amount of money? And you realize that the people who earn more are the people who always seems to be in want. And it's not necessarily because of the amount of money they earn. It's because they are unwilling to inconvenience themselves. And one of the things we teach and what we say is that you need to, if you want to acquire wealth, you need to delay gratification. You need to delay gratification. You can't just satisfy yourself at any time you want, or you feel like buying this one, so you go and buy it. You feel like doing this one. You need to save. You need to hold that purchase for a while, pass it through some screen. Do you need it? Do you actually need it? Can you do it without borrowing? And all these sacrifices pays off in the long run. So what this is the third key I want to share with you is be willing to sacrifice. Be willing to sacrifice. The fourth one I want to talk about is, if you are not getting anything at all from this presentation, this is the point I want you to take today. And that is, apply the 70-30 rule. Apply the 70-30 rule. I know for some of you listening to us, you may be religious like I am, or even if you are not religious, but you believe in giving to charity, it's also very important. What this rule says is that whatever you earn, divide it into 3 tenths and 70. So assuming you are earning $1,000. Or maybe if we localize it or we domesticate it, that will be 1,000 Ghana cedis. Divide it into 3 10s and 70. So the first 10%, which is the $100 or 100 Ghana cedis or naira or whatever it is, what currency it may be, pounds or whatever it is, use the first 10% for your charity or your tithe or to your church as you would wish. And then the second 10%, put it down in case of emergency. And then put another 10% for your long-term ambitions, your long-term, it may be a house you want to buy or a business you want to start, and leave off the 70%. So if you earn $1,000, that means you will spend $700. The $300 is untouchable. And this principle, this rule, if you practice it, it's research has shown that if you practice for a period of 20, 25 years, you should be able to retire from active work without being a liability. Like in our system in Ghana here, where people are picking quarrels with their in-laws, and they say, because you married my son, you have turned the mind of my son from me, and my son is not looking at my direction, he's not taking care of me because the mother-in-law thinks that this young woman has done something to the son. But the point is that look at your situation now. Are you taking care of your parents adequately? If you are not taking care of them adequately, chances are that your children will also not be in the position to take care of you. It's not because they don't want to, but as we go ahead, economic situations and challenges are said that it becomes increasingly difficult for the person to be taking care of you and taking care of his or her own personal family as well. And so this principle, if you are not taking anything at all from this presentation, this is what I want you to take. That decide that whatever you earn from now, especially that we are going to 2020, it should be something afresh. It should be something, a new leaf for you. It should be something that you are going to go into and with this fresh mindset, and you want to clean the sheet and you want to turn things around, that whatever you earn, you will divide into 3 10s and 70. And as I said, these are very, very important. The 10% that goes for short-term investment or for emergencies is very important, because should some emergency occur, you need something to fall on. And trust me, whether you are sub-religious or hyper-religious or super-religious, emergencies will always come. Emergencies will always come. And the sad thing is that when emergencies come, sometimes you run to people and tell these people that, oh, or maybe you think you have some close friend, and this close friend, you run to this close friend and say, oh, I have this problem, and because of that, I have to do this, and you narrate all your situation, and you think the person will help you. And then the person looks at you and say, oh, just this morning, somebody came and I've given that money out. At that time, all your secrets or what you treasure as, your inner, information, you have let out those informations. And it's not the best. It's to save you from that embarrassment. And that's why we need it. And sadly, I have to say, because believers, or Christians, sometimes the people of the world are wiser than us. And I've seen this. Sometimes we think, oh, God will take care of us. There is no need for us to plan towards some of these things. And it does happen. And then it happens, and then the person is in one. I've had a situation where their wives were pregnant. For 9 months, the man was not doing anything, only for the wife to give birth. And then he's now going around looking for money from people to pay for hospital expenses or something. And for pregnancy is not a day or two thing affair. For all 9 months, what were you doing? And so emergency, it's not even an emergency, but some of these things is to save you from this embarrassment. The fifth one I want to talk about is that you have to understand savings and investing. They are two different things. All I want to say is that, for instance, if you go to a bank and you say, I want to save, or I want to open a savings account, all that you are telling the bank is that keep the money safely for me. Anytime I need it, I'll come for it. So the more or less the money is kept at, I mean, the same thing. Virtually you earn nothing on it. But if you say, I want to invest this money, all that you are telling the bank is that use this money to do something that has the potential of generating some returns. And so these returns here can be positive, and that's the time we laugh all the way to the bank. And sometimes, depending on the kind of investment you choose, it can be negative, and that is not very pleasant. But that depends on the kind of your risk tolerance, and which I will touch on it briefly. The sixth one I want to talk about is, as we go on, is that, yes, before I move to the sixth one, and which is also close to the sixth one, is that we should make use of the power of compounding interest. Actually, Albert Einstein said that is one of the seven wonders of the world, and it is said that at the time of Christ, if $1 was invested at a rate of about 3%, it will be worth all the money in the world today. So there is power in compounding interest, and you can see it in the next slide. The next slide, if you start, let's say this is some scenario I have put up. For instance, if your goal, and here I use Ghana cedis as the currency. I mean, if you are in North America or wherever you are, you can put it in your currency. Um, Assuming you want to hit 1 million Ghana cedis by the age of 60. If you are listening to me now and you are around age 20, if you put aside 45 Ghana cedis and you are earning a rate of 15%, you should be a millionaire in 40 years' time. If you decide, I mean, you are too young, you won't do anything now, and you are going to wait till you are 30, that means you have to put aside 180 Ghana cedis in order for you to 180 Ghana cedis every month, assuming here again, there is an assumption here, underlining assumption of 15%, that you are earning 15%, then in 30 years' time, you'll be a millionaire. If you decide that, oh, let me enjoy small. I mean, I'm young. There's more time. Let me chill. Let me take it easy. Let me take it cool. And at the age of 50, then means if you want to be a millionaire in 10 years' time, you have to put away 3,846 Ghana cedis. So the longer or the earlier you start, the better. The longer, or if you wait and you are approaching your 60 years, it means that you are going to put aside more money. Having said that, I want to move to the sixth one. The sixth one is that you should know and match your risk tolerance with your investment. Like as I was explaining, the difference between savings and investing, I made reference to the fact that with investing, it can be positive or negative. So you decide which one you choose. I mean, based on your risk tolerance. There are investments that are very low risk, like mutual funds. They are very low risk, treasury bill, bonds. There are some also that have some degree of risk, what we call hybrid funds or balanced funds. Some that has a combination of shares and fixed income. And then there are some that are purely stocks or equities. Those ones, the risk is very high. So there is no need for you to copy others, what others are doing. Know what meets your need and what you are comfortable with, and choose to invest in that one. The Having said that, I want to move to the seventh one, which is uh, some will say is a bit some say is he also connected to finance. Yes, it has a lot to do with finance. You need to foster high quality relationship. You need to foster high quality relationship. Even in our local balance, we say that show me your friend and I'll show you your character. And the good book says that either walketh with the wise shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. And so, whoever you are now, And whatever you've attained now is because of what you have surrounded yourself with. If you are crashing it, it's because of the people you have surrounded yourself with. And so there is a need for you to get around the right people that will uplift you. And if you need some motivational messages to listen to, you can listen to Destiny Shapers. I definitely recommend that for you. You need to
Thank
listen to it. It will inject you some doses of motivation every now and then. Just go on YouTube and then type Destiny Shapers, and you'll be good to go. So get around the right people. You become who you hang around with, and seek professional advice. Um, at the end of the day, we wouldn't know everything. But the point is that there is a need for us to surround ourselves with people that will help us. And someone said that 5 years from now, you'll be the same person, except the books you read and then the company you keep. So it's very, very important to surround yourself with the right people. Last, I was watching Auntie Sheila, and they are discussing the Richest Man in Babylon by George Clarkson, which is a very good book. And these are the things you need to read. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Millionaire Next Door. These are good books that will help you to achieve the financial independence that you desire. Having said that, people, especially as I was talking, people were asking, oh, what are some of the investment opportunities things you can do in Ghana here? Quite frankly, there are a lot you can do. Uh, in fact, you can buy land, you can wait for some years. After some years, the land will appreciate and you sell it. But of course, in our system, buying land is huge. It comes in, yes, the returns can be very huge, but the risk is also very huge. There are multiple sales of land. So virtually, everything comes with some risks, but that's not to say that you won't do anything. So there is real estate, there is farming, there is education, there is import, export. But I will major on the financial instruments, which, if there is time, I'll throw more lights on. These are the things you can look at because it's very important. And you can look. So there are some pre-investment accounts that wherever you are, I don't mean you necessarily coming to invest with DataBank, but wherever you are, you can choose these three things, which I believe will help you. The first and foremost one is that have an emergency fund. Have an emergency fund. Have an emergency fund. I can't stress this a lot. For those of you living outside, I'm sure Auntie Sheila, you'll bear me out. I'm sure your phone keeps ringing every now and then. Somebody in Ghana is demanding for money, and sometimes it's not even emergency to buy wedding gown, to
you.
do this, to do that, and they seems to be overburdening people. It's because people are, so to speak, chopping all that they earn, which is not the best. So one of the things I am a strong believer in is that have an emergency fund. In fact, your job is not secured. Your job is not secure. You can lose your job. I'm not saying, I'm not a prophet of doom, and I'm not praying that you should lose your job. But the question is, should you lose your job today? Can you survive for the next 3 months or the next 6 months? Can you survive? If you can't, then this is the time to start something. And it doesn't take much. You can start with some $10. You just drop it in an account. You can open an account. Maybe you can call it a financial freedom account, which any bank at all. But make sure that it's an account that you are not, you can't easily access it. So you can't stay at home and you do online transfer and then you end up spending the money. For those of you here, because mobile money is so, now we are so much glued to mobile money. Anything you can even withdraw from your bank account to mobile money and you spend the money. So that account, you don't link it to your mobile money. You keep it, in liquid form, but not so liquid. And it's very important. Maybe if it hits up to 1,000 Ghana cedis or $1,000, you keep it there. That's just something. And then you start to do the proper emergency fund. So I can't overstress that one. For emergencies, trust me, it will come. Whether you are hyper spiritual or sub spiritual, it will come. But the point is, are you prepared for it? Are you prepared for it? COVID has taught us lessons that we need to prepare. I mean, people in Ghana thought their jobs are secured, and some lost their job. I spoke with some people, they are government employees, and I said, goodness, you are a government employee. You wouldn't be sacked. But then if you find yourself in some private institution and you have not done anything for yourself, you'll be in deep waters. So that's the reason why you need to put something aside for emergency. And the rule of thumb is that you should have 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. So at least if something happened within 6 months or 3 months, you'll be able to turn yourself around before you start doing SOS call to people to come and save you. And it's very important. The second one I want to talk about is that you must have a project account, which is, so if it's your house, and this money, I'm talking these funds, you shouldn't keep them all in one account. You can separate them. I mean, ideally you should separate them. So some for your project, you should separate it. Some years ago, a few years ago, we sold our car. The person who bought it was a military officer. He paid us in dollars. So what we did is we opened an account. We put that in because we know that definitely if Christ tarries, we are going to buy another car so long as we are on this earth. And there is no need for me to go and borrow. And thankfully, um, I've been working with DataBank for the past 13 years. I've never taken any staff loan. I mean, car loan. I'm talking about car loan. I've never taken one. And I don't intend to take one. I don't hold any bank in Ghana, thankfully, because of some of these principles. And I believe everybody can do it also. And then the third one I want to talk about is your retirement, because it will come, whether you like it or not, it will come. Another word for retirement is you being sacked with sense, common sense. The employer is telling you, I don't need your service. Go home. Go home. I don't need your service. And sometimes people will walk to the employer and say, look, but I'm still strong. I still have the strength. I still have the energy to work. But the point is the person doesn't need. So why don't you plan towards it? And so it's very important we plan towards our retirement, because it's also very key. So that when our working days is over, we still have something to rely on. And it's very important we do that. Having said that, at DataBank, we have various investment choices that we offer you so many. We have mutual funds, and mutual funds, we have a lot. We have M fund, we have ARC fund, we have B fund, we have EDI fund, we have EPAC, we do treasury bills, we buy and sell shares, we do wealth management, we do pensions. So we have a lot that you can choose from. And so if you want to know more, you can just put something in the chat box, or send something to, and then I can explain that to you. But I want to wrap up this presentation with something. I've talked about it already, but I just want to wrap up with something. Think about it. I just want to put it here so that you see it in proper perspective. So assuming now you are 20 years and you decide to put away 45 Ghana cedis for the next 40 years. So if you are in North America, then put that one as $45. And I believe people in North America can do $45. And you are earning a rate of return. I know 15% is a bit on the high side over there in North America, but in our system, it's normal. It's a normal, it's an average rate. Because even our M fund, DataBank M fund, the average has been 18%. Over the years, the lowest is an average return in our system here in Ghana. So it means that for the next 40 years, your individual contribution will be 21,645 cedis, and your interest alone will be over 1 million Ghana cedis. So you'll be a millionaire. If you move to the next slide, which is if you are 30 years and you are doing 180 Ghana cedis, if you are 30 years and you are doing 180 Ghana cedis, then it means your total contribution then for the next 30, again, I assume that you are earning 15%. It means that your interest alone will be over 952,758 Ghana cedis, which means you are also a millionaire. So, which is very good. Having said all this, one thing I want you to note is that you need to take action now. Action now. Not tomorrow, not next year, waiting till next year or waiting till 2 years when I have finished my home payment, finish my debt with whichever institution, whether JP Morgan or whatever it is you want. Now is the time to do something. It doesn't matter the amount of money you are going to start with. If it is $5 you are going to set aside, do that. And the point is that when you start, you'll be amazed. Some momentum, you gather some momentum, and then you'll be able to achieve your goal much faster. So not someday, when I have enough, you can never have enough. So start now. Uh, I always tell people when I talk to them that if for knowledge alone, people, if knowledge alone is what we need in this world, then the people who live, people who work in our public libraries or institutions, they will be millionaires because they are surrounded by books. So it's not the knowledge that we need that will help us. It is action that will need us. And I end with this saying by W. Clement Stone, who grew up, said he became a very wealthy man. And he said, if you cannot save money, then the seeds of greatness you today. On this note, I want to say a very big thank you for your time and attention. And I understand, Sheila, you would want to ask concerning what
Oh,
we have shared today.
I am like, wow,
Thank you
wow,
very much
wow.
for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have shared so much that I know if we are all like today, we're going to start even one city, $1 a day. It will take us a long way. So we are so grateful. And the important thing you said that captured my attention, you take action now. You know, the future belongs to those who take action today. So let's start doing something. Let's start making changes with the way we spend. I was listening to somebody a while ago and she shared on the Henry syndrome. And I'm like, oh my God, my husband is called Henry. And Henry means high earners, not yet rich. High earners, not yet rich. So we receive some amount of income and we think we are okay and we keep
Yeah.
spending it, like he said. So at the end of the month, we are back to zero. We are high earners, we are earning, but the spending is taking everything away from us. Henry syndrome. Take it for next year. I hope we will come away with from that. So thank you, Mr. Jerry. I know people have questions. If you have a question, you can post it and we can have our brother Jerry answer for us. Thank you all for joining. I know he will come back. God bless you all. He talked about the keys to financial freedom, and he listed the seven keys: financial goal and plan. He says set financial goal, plan, and budget. And the second one is examine your attitude towards spending and avoid unnecessary debt. That is why I'm talking about the Henry syndrome: high earners, not yet rich. And The third one is sacrifice, make some sacrifices, and then apply the 70-30 rule. That is number 4. And number 5 is understand saving versus investing and make use of compounding and start investing early. So God bless those who are young. Some of us, we have hit 50 and we are going towards 60, but I know there is hope. Our brother is back. And number 6, know and match your risk tolerance with your investment. Know and match your risk tolerance. And then number 7 is foster high quality relationships. So we are not just going out getting all the money, we should also have the right people around us. So that was amazing. And we have Emmanuel saying, thank you. We have Mama Doctor saying, powerful presentation. We need this. Thank you so much. And I agree with them. We need it. And God bless you all for joining. If you have a question, please post it before our brother Jerry goes away. And whilst we are waiting for questions, I think I have one question. So if I want to invest, especially for those of us here in the US or abroad, if we want to come back home and invest, what are some indicators we should look for in a particular bank or a company before we go out there to invest, to make sure we are investing at the right place? Brother Jerry, did you hear me? Hello, my brother, can you hear us? Okay, I think he cannot hear me. Hello, Brother Jerry, are you able to hear me,
Oh, okay.
please? Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay,
That's a very good question.
okay.
The point is that there is a saying that you shouldn't buy a pig. Yes, I can hear you. Can you also hear me?
Yes, please. Thanks.
Can you also hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. There is an
Yes,
echo. Go ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, what I'm saying.
Okay, I think it's the internet. Um, Hopefully, he will come back. Um, so, whilst we are still waiting, I was talking about the 7 keys to financial freedom, and the last one he hit on was the relationship. So let's foster high quality relationships and be with the company of people who are ready to support us to get better. Okay, welcome back, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, thanks.
Okay, great. So you asked a very important question as to what should you look at when you want to invest. What are the things you should consider when you want to invest? This is a very important question. There is a saying that you shouldn't buy a pig in the poke. Actually, what you are buying, or whatever you are investing in, you should know. So one of the critical things, or one of the things you want to do, is that whatever you are investing in, you should be comfortable with it, and you should know where your money is being invested. There has been instances where people say, "Oh, just drop your money. You earn 15% at the end of the year, or at the end of the month, or every month we are going to pay you 10% or 12%." it doesn't make sense. Whatever the person is doing, as much as or whatever complicated the thing may be, it must make sense to the ordinary person because it is your money. Money is not easy to come by. So one of the things you want to ensure is that you want to know where your money is being invested. You want to know the people behind the whole thing. Are they credible people? Are they institutional? I mean, some of these, like for instance, the institution, how long has it been? And one of the things you want to ensure is the institution regulated? Is it something licensed that you can fall on the regulator in case something happens? And it's not just somebody giving you his or her word that, oh, just believe me, I will take care of it. Believe me, and that kind of thing. So these are the things you should look out for when you want to put your money anywhere. It doesn't matter. And you want to look at these things very critically. I
Okay,
don't know if
so this is a follow-up to the previous question. How safe is Bitcoin and all these online programs?
Well, I mean, it's a new thing, but I wouldn't go specifically into Bitcoin or whatever. It's not just Bitcoin. We know there are other cryptocurrencies, but it all boils down to the same thing. Whatever you are investing in, is it regulated?
Mm.
Is it something that you understand, something that you are comfortable with, or it's just because the returns, you are chasing returns? And one of the things I tell people is that at initially, if we all have greed in us and we want to have more. But if you are not careful, at some point in your life, you will not be chasing the returns you went in for. You'll be looking for the returning of your money, which will be a problem. So always have that in mind. Is it regulated? Is it something you understand? Is it something you are comfortable with? And it's not somebody telling you something, we do this, and they explain it in some bizarre way. You don't even know how the thing works, and you just want to put this one, they say you will make money, so let me just drop my money. No, it's investing shouldn't be a hard thing. It's something that the human mind should be able to
Thank you
comprehend.
so much. My other question is, I was looking at your presentation. You started with if you are 20 years and you start, investing, how much you will accumulate and you will be a millionaire and all that. What happens to somebody who is 55 getting to 60 and thinks there is no hope? What will you tell that person? Is it too late to start investing? Can you hear us, please? Hello, Mr. Jerry. I think the
Oh,
internet is okay.
there's that's a very good question. I believe, and this is purely from a philosophical background, that there is no situation that is hopeless. There is no any stage in life that you get to and you think that I've come to the end of the road. So even yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Please go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. We can hear you. So go on.
Okay, so what I was saying is that there is no point or no stage in your life that you get to and you think that it is a hopeless end or hopeless situation, because even as we look around, we know KFC was started by Colonel Sanders, and he did that in his 60s. So if he could do something, anybody can do something. And so if you are 55 or even 60 now, you can do something. My advice to you is that, especially those who are around 55, 60, because at that age, you will need a lot of, liquidity. You will need some amount of cash to take care of your living expenses. I wouldn't advise you to venture into things like stock. You can do low risk investment, things like fixed income, treasury bills, those commercial papers or CDs, certificates of deposit. Those ones will help you. And the thing is that it doesn't matter how much or you start with. The whole thing is to get it to form a habit. Because as I shared with you, there are to be goals. In the process of you acquiring with what you become is much more important than what you attain. So just don't look at the situation and give up, because there is much more that you can achieve. And so it doesn't matter if 50 cities or 20 cities or $20 you want to start with, you can still start it. All hope is not lost, and
Awesome.
things will be
Awesome.
better.
So I think you turn it around and advise the youth as well. The youth who think they have time and oh let's blow it for now and we have more time to start investing later. What will you say to them?
Oh, for youth listening or watching now, you have a phenomenal opportunity, because you don't need to put away much. For instance, as low as I shared with you, as low as even 45 Ghana cedis or $45. At 20 years, if you decide to put that away, opportunity. And if you look at the Rockefeller Foundation, the Rockefeller family, you realize that that traits of that financial education, they imbibed it. So for a long time, wealth circled in the family for a very long time. And even to today, they are still a wealthy family, you know. And so it's not just the youth, for parents listening now, if you can teach that your kid, the 5-year-old, the 10-year, the 15-year-old, 20-year-old about savings, to imbibe the culture of saving and investing, I think you would have done a phenomenal job than just throwing every toy at that child at his or her, call, and then you think you are helping that child. You are not doing that child anything good. And the most important thing I believe is to teach the person about wealth. If you look at the Jewish, Auntie Sheila, have you realized that the Jews all over the world, wherever they find themselves, they are never poor.
It's true.
They are never poor. And I don't believe it is because of divine
Thank
providence.
you.
Yes, we know the Jews are blessed, but I don't necessarily believe it's the issue of divine providence. If you look critically in the Bible, 2/3 of Jesus' parables were about money.
Mm.
And I discovered that the word money, they take care of their coins, everything matter, attitude of their proper perspective about money, education about money, they pass it on to their generation. And that's why you find Jews all over the world. You meet them in North London, you meet them anywhere in the world, they are never poor.
Mm.
And it all has to do with our attitude of money. Some of us, we think that when we receive it, we need to blow it, but we need to keep it and work and let it work for the generation. So we build generational wealth, and that's what we need to do.
Awesome. 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 Thank you so very much. Before you leave us, we would want you to share your contact details. How do you want people to contact you, and how can they reach you if somebody wants to talk to you more about investing in data bank in Ghana or elsewhere? So kindly share your details with us, and then you can give us your final word.
Well, if you want to contact, it's very simple. You just dial 050 0577702013, 0577702013, 0577702013. And what I want to say is that, as I said, knowledge is powerful and we all need knowledge. But if for knowledge alone, then those who work in public libraries will be millionaires and billionaires by now. So it's not just about knowledge, it's about taking action. So no, I don't know whether you join in late or you join in, you heard something, just put it into action. And that, I know, can be something that can change your destiny and can change the course, the trajectory of your life.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jerry. We hope to have you another time to share more nuggets with us. It's like growing up, nobody taught us how to, save, how to practice this financial, strategy. So we just work, we earn the money and we just use it. Even if we have to save it, we go back and take it and use it. And that has caused a lot of us. And destiny shapers, we want to turn our destinies around. We want to shape things. We want to make sure we are correcting our mistakes so that the number of years we are left here on earth, we will live life fulfilled. So we are hoping that everybody will start taking action. Call Mr. Jerry, listen to the stream again and learn more, and then call him, contact him if you have to, and start taking action. And we also have our program going on, achieving life goals. He said you have to plan for your finances. You can come on board with our achieving life goals program with Destiny Shapers Academy. Get the tools to help you to plan the goals that you are setting for yourself for 2022. And you can come back 2022, December 31st, and know that you have done what you plan to do. I know he said you have to write down your goals. We have all the tools, the resources to give to you to help you write your goals down, plan it in such a way that you want to achieve financial freedom. So thank you all for joining us. And thank you, Brother Jerry, for coming on Destiny Shapers with Sheila Noy. We appreciate you and we hope to have you another time. So bye, everybody. We love and appreciate
It's a pleasure.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.